So we're going to be making a yeast starter. I get a lot of questions at the store about how you do a yeast starter, and you know, honestly, it's not very hard. You need some water, you need some malt extract. I got about ½ pound here. It is the remains of another yeast starter I did. And then I use a stir plate and a stir bar. You don't necessarily need that. You can use a sanitized growler or something like that. Just something that you can basically make a little mini beer in, get it fermenting. I use a stir bar. It keeps it moving around, gets lots of oxygen in there, and also basically just helps it keep propagating, keep it going. If you use a growler, you just basically every time you walk by it, give it a good shake. So, without further ado, let's just get to it. So we've got the water already on the stove. My recommended dosage, I guess, is about 1/4 of water per cup of malt extract. So 4 cups of water, and I just do about ½ pound. I just eyeball it, you know, as long as you get, you know, a decent sugar amount in there. Not too high, not too low. You want to give it, you know, your standard. You're shooting for about a 1040 to 1050 gravity. So mine is about 1/4 water, about half this saucepan, and then about ½ pound. So we'll just wait for this to come up to a boil here, and then we'll get the malt extract incorporated. Okay, so we're almost up to a boil here, so I'm going to go ahead and get some malt extract incorporated. Here we go. It's going to foam. If you add it when it's boiling, it'll foam really, really hard. So I typically add it right before it starts to boil there, and it still gets the job done. And I'll just go ahead and dump all that in there. Oh, and it clumps. The steam does that. You know what? We got a little bit left here. Get it all incorporated. Might as well use it all up. I have no need for an ounce of dry malt extract, unless it's in a starter. So we'll just do that. Get that incorporated there. There's a little bit left in here, so I'm going to try to shovel it out. There we go. Look at that. Fairly clean container. Smells delicious. So yeah, I'm just going to stir this, get it incorporated, and then basically what we're going to do is bring it up to, you know, a boil, a nice light boil. You don't want to go too crazy on it. Basically, we're just sanitizing it. So, you know, if you keep it at 212 for a minute or two, you will do the trick. So, I'm just going to keep stirring this till the foam goes down, and then we'll bring it up to that boil. Well, let it come up to the boil. We don't have to do anything except stir. Okay, so there you go. We are at a boil now, so we're going to boil this for, you know, 5-10 minutes or so. Get everything good and sanitized there. Not so long that it's going to obviously condense it down and caramelize it, but enough to make sure that everything is good and sanitized. And yeah, and then we will basically transfer this over and start cooling it down. So, we will see you once we start cooling. So here we are in the basement sink. Go ahead and, oh yep, that guy's already done. So, plug your sink. Just take some cold water. I've got my hose here. And basically, again, treating it kind of like a little baby beer. Gonna go ahead and flood this with really cold water here. Let it set for a few. And just basically drop that temperature down. Because you don't have a whole lot of liquid going on here, or a whole lot of wort going on, it really doesn't take very much at all to cool it down. Just let that set. Okay, it's starting to float. Done. And again, it's not going to take very long, so I typically don't cover it up. I just kind of gently slosh it around and do this until it's nice and cool. Okay, so our little batch of wort here is cooled down. So I just checked it with my handy dandy thermometer here, 66. My laser thermometer. Everything is sanitized. I've already got the stir bar in there. So now you'd put a funnel down. I actually don't know where my funnel is, so we're just going to pour this gracefully. So let's see if we can do this here. And I'm going to try to splash it a bit too, so that way it, you know, gets some air in there. Though in a stir plate, that's not the biggest concern. There we go. gotta want it. You gotta want it. Alright. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a Yeast smack pack here, already activated. I literally just smacked this, gosh, 2 hours ago, and it's rocking and rolling. That's the glorious part. If you buy from us, BIY Homebrew Supply, we order yeast pretty much constantly. So I'm going to hit, let's see, the edge here with some sanitizer. Just make sure nothing funky's on there. I cleaned it beforehand, but... so yeah, so then you can see just in shaking it there, it's puffed even more. so yeah, just gonna grab this, rip that top, and again, dump it in. Try not to make a mess here. I am terrible with these. There we go. Get all the good stuff out of there without letting that little packet fall in. Every cell counts, man. Every cell. You must make me delicious experimental beer. Brewing with a friend, and I wanted to make sure that I pitched plenty of yeast. This is 1098, the British ale. Should be delicious. Okay, so then we just set that aside. And yeah, so there you go. You're pretty much done. Give it a swirl here. More oxygen. You don't really need to though. That's the whole point of the stir plate, is that it's going to be kicking pretty much constant oxygen on there. So what I'll do is I'll take a piece of foil right across the top, loosely, not crazy, you know, and now we'll take it over here and put it on the stir plate, which is here. So I'm going to move you. I'll be right back. Okay, so if you can see under there, there's the stir bar. It's really, really hard to see. But basically what I'll do is I'll try to put it on the center of the stir plate there and kind of slide it over so the magnet grabs that sucker. And then we power it up. My stir plate is ancient and awesome. So you know what? It works for me. As you can see, the quart is, gosh, you know, somewhere in between the 12 and 8 hundo there. Not too crazy, you know. You can certainly beef this up, do larger starters, do a step up or whatever. I'm starting this one about 48 hours before, so my goal with it is really just to get some really active fermentation so that way when I pitch this sucker just rips. So you can see, I think, actually, we're gonna pull you guys off here, or that sounds dirty. We're going to remove you from the stand and take you over. So you can see in the top there, a little bit of cyclonic action. So what I'll do is I will keep an eye on it, just make sure that it's actively moving around. That's why we put the foil on the top, allow a little bit of oxygen transfer while it's on the stir plate here. And I may speed it up just a hair, but it's looking like it's picking up pretty well there. You don't want to throw your bar, of course. I just took it up a notch. So yeah, good and active movement, that's what you want to see. So then you just let this magic happen, basically. If you are doing a step up, you know, let it go for a couple days, then crash cool it, decant it off, and do another starter. Just keep beefing it up as you need. Or, in my instance, you know, we're getting it actively fermenting, so, you know, 24 to 48 hours in advance typically does the trick. The wort was sitting at, what, 60, you guys saw it, what, 66 or so? So there's going to be a little bit of a cool start here, which is delicious. It's going to be good, which works for me because, again, I'm pitching this whole slurry. This whole thing's going to go in my batch, and it's pretty much going to minimize lag time and get it really ripping. So yeah, there you go. The cyclonic action. It's like the cosmos. There's Earth. There's Earth. Oh no, there we go. There's Earth. There. Oh, you see? Oh, there we go. So there you go, YouTube. That's how to do a basic yeast starter. You can use this with dry yeasts, liquid yeasts. You know, some folks will say, well, the Yeast smack pack is the starter. No, actually it's not. It's an activator. They call it the activator. So that way, you know that what you're doing is it's a proofing step. I recommend doing a yeast starter on any beer that you're going to have a higher gravity, 1060 or above, or lagers, if you want to beef up your cell count, definitely worth it. Or pitch a couple vials, if money's no option, then just pitch a couple packs. Dry yeast, liquid yeast, any yeast though can get a really, really good head start by doing essentially the starter where you're getting the yeast actively fermenting and then you pitch that whole slurry. So you can see it's churning away there. And yeah, so we're just going to let this sit. I actually don't have any other brewing to do down here for the next several days. I'm actually going to be brewing at a friend's, so I'm just going to leave it right here in the midst of all my organization and junk. And so yeah, so if you've got any questions or anything, please do leave them down in the comments section. I'll try to get back to you as quick as I can. And if you've got any tips or tricks or your own methods, please let me know. I've heard of all kinds of different ones and I've tried different ones. I like the heating it up, give it a little bit of a simmer to sanitize everything, and then just basically treat it like a little baby beer, a hopeless beer. But I've tried mixing just straight into cold water and get the yeast pitched right away and stuff like that. I didn't notice a huge difference between it, honestly, but I also didn't let that beer sit around for very long, so I couldn't tell if there was any sort of contamination. So me being paranoid, I always heat it up. Give it a boil, it'll kill everything. Good to go. But yeah, so please do, like the video, thumbs it up. If you are new to the channel, click the subscribe button. Definitely check it out, because trying to post more videos this year. You can go back through, of course, all the basics of homebrewing series, my brewing different series. We've got wine making, all that stuff. Hopefully we'll have some cheese making now that I'm getting good at it. But yeah, so little tip, couple tricks, how you do a basic yeast starter. Life is good. Cheers everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. 17.